Okay, there we go. Hello, welcome to my show. I am the Crime Scene Knitter. My name is Heather, and it's been a while since I've filmed. I have done some things correctly in order to set up for filming, and some things not so much. So we'll see how today goes. But yeah, this is where I chat about my making and my projects, mostly knitting and crochet, and some painting, some drawing, some reading, and it's very hot in this room, so I'm motivated to stay on track and to not ramble today, I hope. I am wearing a hand knit today. I have a ribbon which is in my hair. I'm gonna try to turn around to see. There it is. Yep. Pretty sure you caught a glimpse there. That pattern is from Woolen Pine. They have a bundle, or they had a bundle of hair accessories that you could knit, and there were bows and scarves and ties like this. And the yarn that I used was from an Advent, and I've very much lost the label to that. So there's no telling what is actually in my hair right now. So that's what I'm wearing. It's that part of the year where it starts to get a little too hot during the day for knits. However, nighttime I find will sometimes cool off enough that I can sneak a sweater in here or there. And to that end, I am very nearly finished with a sweater. I have started another sweater, and I've also started a bunch of other things. And I figured, okay, today is a good day to document all of the work that I've been doing and put it out on the internet, because I know people are just dying to see what I have made. So I'm actually going to start with a sock, living in my very wonderful, very vibrant Hohi & Co. bag. I love the neons. This yarn I have had in my stash for a long time, very long time, and I finally just thought to myself, okay, I need to start it. I need to knit something up. So this is the yarn. This is Mace of Skeins, and my sock is inside out right now. But it is her sock base, whichever that happens to be, and this is what we have so far. It's like blowing the camera out how bright it is. I've got some leftover neon green for the heel. So this is sock number 1. And my plan is to knit this up just tall enough that it will peek over the top of my sort of ankle boot that I have. And then I want to make a frill for the top out of this color. So it's just going to be really, really bright and knock people's socks off, I guess. The yarn, I do have it pulled up. So this is one of the things I did right. I prepared. Let's see. Okay, so this is Mace of Skeins, and it is club fingering. The colorway is Flash Dance, so very, very flashy and bright. Kind of just like a travel, like a popcorn knitting project where I just have that in my purse and I just knit on it as I desire. My other project that I have sort of started, not particularly, is with more stash yarn, because as some of you guys will remember, I'm trying to do like the big stash down challenge I made for myself last year. And so I'm really, really trying to use up and burn through all of the stash that I have already purchased. This is another skein of yarn which I have had in the stash for a very, very long time. I love this color. I got it at Fiber Fest. I wanted more of it, but they were sold out pretty much, and this was all they had. So this yarn is something. Let's see. Not that one. It's this one. It's this one. It is Have Wool, Will Travel Checked Baggage. And the colorway is Icelandic Lava and Lichen, which is so very in my wheelhouse. I love that color. It is a worsted. Well, it says DK. I consider this a worsted. I find it to be a bit thicker. And I am trying to make a pattern that I found in a library book. This is what I've checked out from the library. And I was you know, going through, and a lot of the patterns in here are super duper cute, one skein, elegant yarn patterns, and so I thought, okay, this will be a great way to use up some of my stash. But I'm having some problems with gauge. So what I'm trying to make, let's see if I can pull it up here. Wait for it. Wait for it. Not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Maybe I've gone too far. I was able to just open straight up to it before. Okay, so it's the Smocked Belt, number 56. And I don't want to just give away this pattern. So, here. There we go. There's my coaster. I'm doing overtime here. So this is the belt right there, and it's kind of like they call it an obi inspired belt, which like a Japanese obi. I find it really, really attractive. I think it would look nice over a lot of my dresses, since we're getting to be in dress season, and it's perfect to use up one skein of yarn. My problem is that I cannot get gauge. So I'm thinking, because I really want it in this color, but I may have to go down and do more of a fingering type weight. So we'll see. I'm trying a smaller needle. I'm going to see if I can knit tighter and make gauge that way. But this one might not, this might be a false start, or this might not leave the shelf. So, but I'm making an attempt. I want to document, I'm making an attempt to use up my yarn. A more successful attempt to use up yarn, which I have stashed, is this flax sweater that I am making for myself. This is a flax worsted. And here we go, this is the right way out. So right now we are still doing the increases. So I don't have a ton finished. But this was stash yarn, and I've got enough to make a sweater. I think I have enough to do the full length sleeves, but if not, I'll just do bracelet length or quarter length sleeves. That's fine, I'm not too picky about that. The yarn that I'm using is actually in acrylic, and it's an acrylic that I really, really love. This is Cascade Yarns Pinwheel. I've made a scarf, a cabled scarf with pinwheel before, and I really loved it. I loved the colors, I loved how it came out. So I decided to buy some more when I went on my yarn crawl 1 year ago, 2 years ago. And I've got the color Autumn Leaves, 3 skeins of it, because the location that I was purchasing this from, Fiber Circle, I think, was almost out of this color, and I love this color. So I'm working on another sweater. I wanted to start that so that when I finish my Sorry Nordland, I have another sweater on the needles and I'm just like ready and I can go. So that's in the works. Another stash buster that is actually successful, I would call this a success, is this non-patterned poncho shawl that I'm making. It's a poncho, it's not a shawl. I'm basically just doing raglan increases and making a increasingly large tube with just a little bit of color work embellishment, not much, just something easy to give a little bit of visual interest. The yarn that I'm using for this, I have it pulled up, is Concept by Katya Alpaca Gold, and I think I've accidentally bought silver. So the core of the yarn, I have 3 colors, so is either gold or silver. I think one of them is silver on accident. I think the green is, but I got 3 colors. I have this black, I have the red, and I have the green. And I bought it sort of on a whim on vacation when I was visiting my in-laws. And so it's been sat in my cupboard for 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. So anyways, I told myself when I bought it, I'm just going to do a simple poncho, just something small and light and easy. And I finally decided I've had enough. I need to cast it on now, and I did, and I love it. And I'm actually kind of almost, not quite, but almost regretting just making sort of like not a throwaway project, but just doing a poncho, because I really love the texture of this. And I almost want like a top out of it, like maybe a t-shirt, but with really wide sleeves. I don't know. I think that would feel really, really nice when it was chilly. But I'm gonna enjoy the poncho too. I love ponchos. I don't make very many of them. I don't have very many of them, so I want more. So I'm very pleased with how this is coming along. It's very, very soft. I would actually buy this yarn again. I would buy enough for a sweater next time. So that's kind of been my current obsession. I have tried to start another project here with some Magpie Fibers Swanky DK and some minis that I had in my stash. This is going to be a colorwork hat, so I'm trying to swatch for it. This is how far I've gotten, which is not very far. I did buy a sort of fuzzy yarn to be held double with my main color, and I kind of lost steam on this one because I don't like how it looks. So I'm probably going to reevaluate that, but hopefully that project will help me eat up some of my leftover minis. So we'll see. That one's kind of in timeout. I would classify it as a UFO for now, whereas everything else is kind of still in FO territory. So there's that. And then finally, my Rivendell Pullover by Sari Nordland. This one is so close to being done. I do actually anticipate finishing it today. I have everything done except for the neckline, and I am doing the ribbed neckline. There's two options for this sweater pattern. You can do a ribbed neckline or you can do an I-cord bind off, and I just thought that the ribbed neckline was so much prettier, so I'm going to do that. It fits beautifully. I just love knitting it and holding it because it's got that fresh wool smell, which I understand is odd that I enjoy that, but I do. So anyways, it's a fade. This yarn also has been sat in my stash for a very, very long time, and I've been waiting and waiting for the perfect pattern to use it on. And I really like Sari Nordland. This is my first pattern of hers that I've done, and it's written beautifully. I've had no problems following it. I'm using stash yarn from Yarn Cafe Creations. It's the Americano DK, and the colors that I have are Hot Fudge Brownie. This one, let's Cinnamon Roll. One more, this is Hazelnut. I had a fourth one, and it doesn't look like I put that in my Ravelry. So the fourth one, I don't know which color it was. And I did also incorporate the yellowy yarn at the top, is held to double with one of the Yarn Cafe Creations because I wanted more of a lighter sandy look. And I have purchased an additional cake. I think this is hazelnut, I'm not sure. But it's not light enough for me to use for the neckline, so I'm holding it double with Babyule Lynette. Babyule. So that's hard for me to pronounce. But this is what I'm using. I bought this from Knit Dallas. I just needed a little bit of white yarn to sort of hold double and get me over the finish line of this. So unfortunately I had to buy 2 more skeins in order to complete this project. Not thrilled about that, but hey, Pancha Marie, that was rude. Sorry, it's my cats. Don't know if you could hear her little hiss there. So yeah, those are the projects that I'm working on, and that is it. That was a super short show. I guess I don't have much else to say today. Other than the knitting, I have been reading a lot more. Right now I am reading a Terry Pratchett book, which I adore Terry Pratchett. I am starting the series over. I am reading The Color of Magic. So that's good. If you've never read a Terry Pratchett, I highly, highly recommend. What else? Let's see. My cats are trying to fight, which is not good. I don't know what it is, but they're all girls, and I think feelings get hurt, and Poncho is a bully, and so that's going on. yeah, I think that's it. So not a long episode today, not a particularly, I don't know. I find this exciting. I guess not a put together episode, but it'll do. So I hope everybody is having a really wonderful spring, a really wonderful time crafting, and yeah, see you on the next one. Bye. All right, a little bonus footage. I just broke up a cat fight, and I noticed that we have some really gorgeous lizards hanging out in the garden. We get a ton of lizards in our garden, and they're very, very cute. Hey, buddy. They can actually change color. I saw one of them do it. Oh, he's looking at me. It's so cute. And they live in the siding of our house. Here's another little goober. Look at that little face. He's so cute. Little bonus for putting up with me trying to film while we had major construction going on down the road. And these little guys start to come out around this time of year and enjoy the garden. All right, y'all. See you on the next one.